Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really digging into a market that's become so important, surface disinfection.
Absolutely vital.
Yeah, we've got this recent report, and the growth numbers are pretty staggering. It's projected to nearly double, right? From about USD 6.1 billion in 2024
Mm.
to almost 11.8 billion by 2032.
Yeah, that's an 8.5% compound annual growth rate. It's significant.
It really is. So what's behind this huge rise?
Well, it's, a mix of things coming together. We're definitely seeing a much bigger public focus on hygiene now.
For sure.
And then there's the concerning rise in healthcare-associated infections, HAIs.
Right.
Plus, the pandemic, obviously, that's left a real lasting mark on awareness. And governments, well, they're bringing in stricter rules, too.
Okay, so it's coming from multiple angles.
Exactly. It's a market really being shaped by, well, necessity and changing standards.
Makes sense. So our mission here in this deep dive is to figure out who the main players are in this growing field. What does it take to succeed? What are the challenges popping up? And kind of where's it all headed?
Yeah, the future of keeping surfaces safe.
Exactly. And for you listening, think of this as your fast track, your way to quickly get up to speed on a market that, honestly, it touches pretty much everything.
It really does.
Okay, so let's start with the big players. Who are the current titans of surface disinfection?
So the report points to 5 main companies based on market share right now.
Yeah.
Leading the pack is Reckitt Benckiser Group.
Okay.
They've got about 12.5% share. Then you've got Procter & Gamble, pretty close behind at 10.5%.
Right, P&G.
Then 3M Company with 8.7%. Eolab Inc. has 6.8%. And the Clorox Company rounds out that top group with 5.2%.
Yeah, those are definitely names we all recognize. Let's break them down a bit. What makes each one a leader? What are their strengths? The brands maybe we'd know. Reckitt Benckiser first.
Okay, Reckitt, so think Lysol, Dettol. Their huge strength is that established consumer trust.
Yeah, definitely.
And their products are just everywhere. Wide availability. They've put a lot into building those brands, and they keep innovating. What's interesting, too, is they're moving into, like, biodegradable options
Oh,
and even hospital-grade stuff. So they're clearly looking beyond just the home.
hospital grade from Reckitt. That's a shift.
Yeah, it shows they're aiming wider, trying to take that household trust into more demanding places.
Smart move. Okay, what about Procter & Gamble, another consumer giant?
Exactly. P&G,
Mhm.
Microban 24, Mr. Clean. They leverage their massive distribution network, just getting products onto shelves everywhere. Their formulas are known for being effective and offering longer-lasting protection, which is a big plus for people.
Yeah, that Microban 24 thing.
Right. And they're also doing interesting things with packaging and sort of exploring products that both clean and disinfect, that convenience factor.
Two birds, one stone. Always good. What about 3M? I tend to think of them more for like industrial or healthcare uses.
Spot on. Yeah, 3M, with
Yeah.
brands like 3M Clean Trace,
Right.
their disinfectant cleaner, they're really strong in industrial, institutional, and healthcare.
Okay.
Their whole focus is really on efficacy, getting results fast. And they're increasingly building smart tech into their hygiene systems,
Smart tech. Like what?
like systems for tracking cleaning protocols, ensuring things are done right, really for places where you need that strict data-backed approach.
Got it. So much more specialized. Okay, then Ecolab.
Ecolab stands out because they take this really comprehensive approach, especially for institutions, hospitals, hotels.
Right.
Yes, they have a wide range of hospital-grade disinfectants, but the real edge is their service model. It's consultative.
How so?
Well, they don't just, drop off chemicals. They work with the facility to create custom disinfection plans. They do training. They even monitor to make sure it's working. It's much more of a partnership.
Ah. Okay. That sounds like a big advantage, that partnership angle. All right. Lastly, the Clorox company. I mean, Clorox and disinfectant, they practically go hand in hand for a lot of people.
Totally. Yeah, Clorox, famous for their wipes, their bleach cleaners. Huge brand recognition, right? Especially with consumers,
Yeah.
schools. They really push their EPA-approved products. That EPA stamp, for listeners, that means the Environmental Protection Agency says, yes, this works against specific germs when you use it right.
Okay, that's important context.
Yeah, and they're also focusing more now on lowering their environmental impact. That's definitely resonating with more people.
It's interesting how they each have their own sort of niche or angle, even at the top. Now, the report also talks about how these companies are, well, how they're judged. What are the key things looked at when assessing them?
Right, there are several key criteria. First is just the range and effectiveness of their products.
Okay.
Do they have stuff for different sectors? hospitals versus food service versus homes is effective. Then innovation is huge.
Innovation like,
Like, are they making things that work faster, kill more types of germs? Are they less toxic?
mm,
And also the delivery. Wipes, sprays, foggers, making it easy to use.
makes sense. A hospital's needs are way different from a school cafeteria's, like you said. What else?
Regulations and certifications are absolutely critical. Having those EPA, FDA, or European IN approvals,
Yeah.
it's non-negotiable for credibility, really,
Right. Got to have paperwork.
basically. Then their distribution power. Can they actually get the product where it needs to go reliably? Their geographic reach, especially into growing regions.
Supply chains.
Exactly. And finally, things like their brand reputation, how they market themselves, and importantly, how quickly and effectively they can respond if there's like a new health threat.
Okay, so it's really a whole picture, not just the bottle on the shelf.
Precisely. It's the product, the science, the logistics, the trust, all of it.
Got it. Now, the report doesn't just talk about the big five. It also mentions some emerging players, companies challenging the status quo. Who should we be watching there?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the top 5 have a big slice. There's this dynamic group sort of nipping at their heels. The report highlights companies like Steris Pilica,
Okay.
SC Johnson Professional USA, Geo Industries, think Purell, Paul Hartman AG, and Mitrex Research.
All right, let's pick a couple of those. What's giving them traction? How are they making inroads? Steris.
Steris has been smart about growth through acquisition. They're buying companies, especially in infection prevention and contamination control.
Oh.
They already have a strong footing in sterilization tech for hospitals and life sciences, so it's kind of a natural extension for them into disinfectants. Gives them instant credibility in those regulated spaces.
Building on what they know. Smart. What about SC Johnson Professional?
Yeah, SC Johnson Professional USA, they're leveraging that huge SC Johnson brand name that everyone knows from home products.
Right.
They're pushing professional grade stuff now, but with a focus on being easy to use and sustainability. That seems to appeal to a lot of businesses. They're banking on that trust carrying over.
Sustainability again. That keeps popping up, doesn't it?
It really does. It's a major theme.
Okay, Geo Industries, you mentioned Purell. So moving beyond just hand sanitizer.
Exactly. Shiojo, famous for Purell, they're making a serious push into surface disinfectants now.
Interesting.
They're bringing their R&D muscle, creating these EPA-registered, fast-acting products for surfaces people touch a lot. And they already have relationships in healthcare from the hand hygiene side, which gives them, a foot in the door.
A logical next step for them. Paul Hartman AG. What's their story?
Paul Hartman, they're a well-regarded German company, long history in medical and hygiene products. They make specialized disinfectants, particularly for clinical settings like operating rooms.
Okay, high-end stuff.
Yeah, and they're really investing in diversifying their range and focusing on sustainable manufacturing. So they're strong competitors, especially in Europe and Asia, hitting that sweet spot of efficacy and being environmentally conscious.
Got it. And the last one you mentioned, Mitrex Research.
Mitrex Research is all about targeted solutions. Very specific applications, think dental offices, hospital labs.
Niche players.
Exactly. Their whole game is making sure their products meet super strict protocols and are compatible with sensitive equipment in those areas. They're not trying to do everything. They're focused on precision for specific needs.
So it sounds like for these emerging companies, the strategy is often specialization, maybe hitting that sustainability angle hard, or finding a specific niche to really own.
That's a good summary, yeah. Innovation within a defined space.
Okay, so if you're a new company thinking about jumping into this crowded market, what does the report suggest? What are the guidelines for actually succeeding?
Well, the report really stresses a few key things for newcomers. First off, focus on developing really top-notch hospital-grade disinfectants. That means fast kill times, works against a wide range of germs.
Okay, aim high from the start.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And getting EPA and FDA compliance, especially for healthcare settings, that's just table stakes. Absolutely essential.
No shortcuts there, I imagine.
None. Then there's a growing need to invest in green chemistry. Using biodegradable ingredients, that really appeals now.
Right, the sustainability factor again.
Exactly. And R&D needs to focus on formulas that are low toxicity, work quickly, short contact times, and ideally stop microbes from growing back.
Okay.
Even things like smart packaging can give an edge. Think color indicators to show it's working, or sustainable refill systems.
So the whole experience, formulation to packaging.
Right. And you have to back up your claims. Rigorous data, third-party testing, clinical trials maybe, That builds trust.
Proof points.
Essential proof points. The report also suggests looking at emerging economies for growth and maybe finding regional partners and identifying niches, maybe disinfectants specifically for trains or schools or clean rooms. Find an underserved spot,
Find a gap.
find a gap. And finally, again, sustainability certifications, Green Seal, Eco-Label, they can really boost appeal.
Wow, okay. It's a lot to juggle for a new entrant. Looks like a complex path.
It is. It's a competitive space.
So looking forward then, what are the big forces expected to shape this market in the next, say, 5 to 10 years?
Well, the huge growth projection itself is obviously a major driver. That continued focus on public health and hygiene isn't going away.
Right.
But beyond that, yeah, sustainability is going to become even more central. We'll see more smart packaging, more innovation in those clinical grade products.
Yeah.
The big players, they'll keep pushing R&D, maybe even exploring things like real-time pathogen tracking.
Real-time pathogen tracking. Wow, that sounds almost sci-fi.
It kind of does, but it shows where the tech is heading, increasing sophistication.
Okay.
But like we discussed, those agile, specialized competitors, they're going to keep challenging the big guys.
So continued disruption.
I think so.
Yeah.
For anyone trying to break in or grow, the key will be offering solutions that are clinically proven, good for the environment, and cost-effective. That's the trifecta.
Effective, safe, affordable.
Exactly. And then you have tightening regulations, plus this growing global concern about antimicrobial resistance that's going to heavily influence product development, too.
Lots of moving parts. Okay, so to wrap up our deep dive here, what are the main takeaways for our listeners about this whole surface disinfection market?
I'd say first, this market is really booming,
Yeah.
right? Driven by this intense focus on hygiene and health that's probably here to stay.
Mm-hmm.
Second, while you have these established giants leading, they're definitely facing more heat from innovative, often more specialized competitors.
Right, the landscape is shifting.
It is. And third, for anyone in this space, success going forward really hinges on hitting those key notes. Sustainability, technological innovation, and creating products that truly meet the specific needs of different sectors, whether it's a hospital or a school or, your kitchen counter.
Some really clear takeaways. It certainly highlights just how big and important this market is, even if we don't always think about it day to day. And maybe for you listening, it's worth considering how these trends, sustainability, specialized formulas, smart tech, might change the products you see or use. It's definitely more complex than just grabbing any old spray bottle.
A lot more science involved now.
Yeah, maybe something to look into further could be specific disinfectant technologies or perhaps checking out the sustainability reports from some of these companies. Anyway, thanks for joining us for this deep dive.